Good morning. I guess it came up in split screen. Let me go to just this one. Hope you had a nice weekend. I think I've got the sound levels pretty good according to my little bar graph over here. So I think I will leave it at that. Today's class will bring some awareness to the thighs and to the hips. Our mind-body connection to different actions and different muscles can be lost over time. We tend to move in very predictable, repetitive manners. So the muscle movements that we don't use a lot, we can kind of lose that connection. So we'll bring some awareness to the muscle groups in the thighs, the hips, and relate that to the standing poses. Remember that bringing awareness to those sensations in the body brings mindfulness to the mind, so it keeps you present. And that's a practice, and that is useful off the mat as well, to lower those stress hormones. So all this stuff that we do goes with you when you leave me. So let me go to a split screen and we will get started. We're actually going to start on our backs. A couple blocks would be nice, or something to reach down and put your hand on. Not absolutely necessary. I'm on this slippery little block, or slippery little, it's called I think a Zafu. I'll show you, hang on. It's kind of a meditation cushion, but it's really kind of slippery. So I've been plopping it here in front of my computer so I'm not down in a hole as much when I talk to you. So beginning on the back, I think I'll lay this way. And if you have a strap, that could be useful. And if not, that's okay too. Pause here, tucking the shoulder blades and coming to the breath. Inhale and exhale, drawing that life force energy into the body on the inhale, and then just letting go of maybe just the sleepiness from the night. Let it go. Wash it away. On your next inhale, let's take a good morning stretch. It's easy to focus on those hands, but focus on the feet. Flex the feet, reach through the heels. Maybe you kind of wag your tail a little bit here, hike your hip up and down. And then bring both knees to the chest, Apanasana. And maybe you roll up. And then back down. Let's keep the right leg in and extend the left long. Do some circles through the right ankle. Just waking everything up. And another good morning stretch. Try flipping the palms this time, lacing the fingers. And then draw the left knee into the chest. Keep that right leg long and active, but circle through the left ankle. Maybe wiggle all the toes. And then inhale, reach long. Now exhale, draw the knees up. So the knees can stay up here all by themselves. We're going to bring some isometric contraction to different directions of movement within the legs, within the thighs. Isometric means contracting the muscles without producing movement. So first I want you to take your hands to your knees right there at the thighs. I'm going to push my hands into the knees and resist. So this would be flexion. I'm drawing my knees towards my chest. I'm not producing movement, so it's an isometric flexion. And breathe. We'll take about 2 more breaths here, holding these contractions, and then releasing and gently going back into them. is called PNF, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. Release, and we'll do that one more time for about 5 breaths. This utilizes reflexes in the Golgi tendon bodies that are in the tendons that signal the muscles to release. So maybe you'll get a little more stretching as we move through today's practice. Okay, release. Now I want you to take your hands on the outside of your knees and push the knees into your hands and push the hands into your knees. So this would be abduction, or moving away from the midline of the body. If we were on our side, it would be a leg lift. And feel what's happening in the musculature, what's contracting. And release. Take a breath. Go back in. And then release. Now slide the hands in between the knees. This would be adduction. So we're adding the leg back towards the midline. Push the hands into the knees and the knees into the hands. These are usually pretty strong muscles. This is an action that we do. Those hip flexors, we do a lot. We sit, we walk. Release, take a breath, go back in, and notice what's happening in the muscles. Now slide your hands in front of the knees. You can even bring your hands behind the thighs or in front of the thighs behind the knees, whatever works best for you. We're going to push the thighs forward and resist with the hands. This would be extension. So if you let this action happen, it would be pushing the leg behind you. Take a couple breaths here. Feel what's happening. Release. Take a breath. And go back. And before we rise to sit, let's do some circling through the hips and just feel the range of motion available in the thighs and the hips. There's lots of directions of movement, combining really the movements that we just worked our way through. Lots of combinations. Alrighty, let's rise to sit. So maybe you rock up and down on the spine 1 time, maybe 3 times feels good. Just meet me in a seated position at the top of the mat. Sitting in Sukhasana, so crisscross applesauce. You can always bring a couple blocks underneath your bottom, blanket, sofa cushions, their yoga bolsters, but try to sit in this shape. Bringing the hips up will let you tip your pelvis forward and maybe bring a little more comfort to this shape. So we're going to repeat those same isometric actions here. I want you to take your hands to your knees, push down and lift up with the knees, but reach up through the crown of the head. Keep everything else soft. So the torso is soft and reaching and lifting. Contracting the muscles in the arms that we need to push down, and the muscles in the legs that we need to lift the knees. And then release. Now you're going to hook your hands under your thighs and push down. You can squeeze your glutes together a bit here. And the gluteal muscles are a big part of the movement of the hips and the legs. Pushing the legs down. Now take them on the inside and try to push them towards the midline, but resist with the hands. And pushing out with the hands, in with the legs. And notice, remember, sometimes we lose those mind-body connections. This isn't a shape that you're in, I would guess, very often doing this action. So we're building new pathways in the brain, that neuroplasticity. Now one more, I'm going to take my hands to the fronts of the knees. I'm going to push my knees forward and pull my hands back. And this can help you lift and straighten through the spine. Breathe. And notice what's contracting. Where are you feeling this? And at the same time the legs are so active, can you stay soft in the torso? And you lift and lengthen. And then release. Let's switch the cross of the legs. We'll do a little warm up with the arms and then we'll come to stand. Inhale up. Exhale, arms down. Bring the hands to heart center. Let's do 3 circle of joy. So palms down. Exhale, round the spine, reach towards me. Inhale up. And exhale down. 2 more. Last one. And exhale the arms down to the sides. Roll over the knees, come to table. Let's do a little spine warm up. So 2 or 3 cat-cow. Inhale, nice back bend. Exhale, cat. 2 more. And back to neutral. Let's do some, I call it jump roping the spine. So I'm going to drop the belly, swing the ribs to the left, and then arc the back. And swing the ribs to the right. Big jump rope with the spine. And go the other direction. Now tuck your toes and let's lift up into down dog. Let's wiggle and squirm there a bit too. Pedal the heels. Find space. Find stretches. And then find stillness. We'll take about 3 more breaths here and then we'll come to the top of the mat. Look forward and find your way up there to the top. Bend your knees a lot once you get here. Grab opposite elbows and stretch, sway side to side. Bring the arms out and up. And exhale the hands home to the heart. I think I'm going to lift this camera over here just a touch. It's difficult to get them where I want them to because I have to move them after every class and then I have to reset. So find mountain pose, feet are under hips, roll those shoulders up, back, and down. Today is kind of a focused practice. It takes discipline to be focused. That's also mindfulness. Let's sway side to side. Feel the edges of your feet. And then sway forward and back. Feel the balls of the feet, the heels of the feet. And then find balance. And find mountain pose. Feel this. Now we'll do some of these same actions in this shape. And then we're going to move on to some standing poses. I think many times there's this preconceived notion with yoga. There's a lot of stretching. We do stretch, but with mindfulness we can engage muscles, and there is powerful strengthening opportunities in yoga if you just bring yourself to the moment. So I want you to pull the feet away from each other, so it would be like you're doing leg lifts, side leg lifts, but without letting the feet move. So another isometric contraction. Feel this. Notice your kneecaps. Lift the kneecaps. So we're going to squeeze the thigh muscles. That brings stability to the knees. Now keep the kneecaps lifted and then just release that abduction, that pulling to the side of the legs. Now do the opposite. Pull the legs towards each other. Keep the kneecaps lifted. Feel the difference. Keep light through the spine. And release. Now we're going to try to, and this is one for me that you just kind of lose the connection in the brain and in the body. So I'm going to teach you one way, then we're going to try to do both legs at the same time. So I'm going to take my left foot like I'm pushing it forward and my right foot like I'm pulling it back. So one leg is trying to flex and move forward, the other leg is trying to extend and move back. Feel the difference in the contraction of the muscles, left and right. Now release, go the other way. I'm going to pull the left leg back. Like I'm trying to push the right leg forward. Again, isometrically, contracting without moving. Now release. Now try to push both legs back. Contract all of those muscles that you felt when you were able to kind of work against the other leg. And then try to push them forward. This is more difficult for me to sense. Release everything. In fact, let's take a big sun breath. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Lift halfway. And fold. Now pull the feet away from each other. That will support your back. Swing your arms out and up. Exhale the hands home to the heart. Release the hands to the sides. Now try to do everything at once. Just let your mind wander around all those muscles. See what you can do. Mind-body connection. Lifting through the center of the body, the Sushumna, the central channel of the body, up through the crown of the head. And breathe. Now step wide. We're going to take Prasarada. So my feet are parallel to the short edges of the mat. Pull the feet away from each other here. Feel that. Pull the feet towards each other here. Feel that. And release that and see if you can push the legs back. It's kind of tough, huh? And then release that and try to push them forward. And then release everything. Let's take the hands above us. Take the hands behind us. Lace, don't lace. Take the hands behind you. I don't know if you can see, you've got one, the heel of the hand at the top of the sacrum. Draw the elbows back. Now we're going to fold forward. Try to engage those legs in all four directions. Pause here as the heart is parallel to the earth. Now pull the legs away from each other. Feel that. Drag the legs towards each other. Feel that. Try to push your sit bones back towards the wall behind you. Feel that. And then drag those thighs forward a bit. Feel that. Now pull the feet strongly away from each other as you rise up. And we'll take this into Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. I'm going to start with the right leg. Externally rotate the thigh. So I've turned that thigh outward. I'm going to lift that back heel. You can keep it parallel to the short edge of the mat or maybe just a little angle. Take your hands to your hips. Now think about those legs. Pull them away from each other. Feel that. Draw them towards each other. Feel that. Lift your arms up. Turn your gaze towards your right fingertips. Bend into the right knee. Look back at the left hand and reach back that way a little bit. Then turn and look at the right. Now pull those legs away from each other. Feel that power. Let's hold here in Warrior Two. Feel the engagement of the legs. Now keep that and let's come into Peaceful Warrior. Drop the left hand down the leg, reach the right arm up. Keep those legs reaching away from each other. Breathe. Keep the legs reaching away from each other. Back to Warrior Two. Reach in both directions with the arms. Feel the legs, pull them away from each other. Now take the hands to the hips, straighten that leg. Back to Prasarita. Let's swing the arms out and back behind you. Heels of the hands to the sacrum. Draw those elbows back. Try to engage all the muscles of the thighs as you fold forward. And maybe this time you come lower. You can bring your hands to blocks or fingertips to the floor. Play a little here with pulling the legs away from each other. Feel the glutes light up when you do that. And then pull the legs towards each other. Go back and forth. Now pull them strongly away from each other. And bring the hands to the thighs and come back up. Always the option of bending a bit through the knees when you come back up. Let's take the left. Externally rotate the thigh. So we externally rotated. Decide if you want to keep the foot like this or lift a bit. Let the right hip wrap forward a little and the left hip back. Squeeze the thigh muscles, the quads to lift your kneecaps. Arms out to the sides. Look at the left arm. Now turn and look at the right. Reach back a little bit. Now look at the left. Bend only into the left knee. Keep this, but pull those legs away from each other. Keep this, but draw those legs towards each other. Now if you start to feel this in the kneecaps or in the knees, squeeze the thigh muscles, re-engage them. And with that back leg, make sure even though you're drawing the legs towards each other, you're reaching and pushing into the little toe edge. And we'll take Peaceful Warrior, draw those legs towards each other, don't let that go. All this strength building in stillness. Sometimes being still is very difficult, but powerful. Let's come back to Warrior Two. Hands to hips, straighten. Let's heel toe. Bring those legs underneath you back to mountain pose. Slowing down like this and focusing on the practice, focusing on the pose can be very difficult. We're developing some muscle memory. So when we flow through our practice, we don't have to focus so much to engage the muscles properly. Inhale, swing your arms up. And exhale, fold forward. Lift halfway on your inhale. Fold. Let's come to plank. I'll take a little vinyasa here. You can either drop to the knees and come down to the chest. Just find your way down, controlling the movement of the shoulders. Let's do 5 baby cobra. Inhale. And exhale. I've got 3 more. Two more. See if you can push right back up to plank. And then down dog. Step forward right away. Plant your feet under your hips and soften through the knees. Grab opposite elbows and hang. Now drop the hands, pull the feet away from each other. Feel that light up the whole hip complex. That will help you as you lift your torso. So It takes a lot of the load off the back. And exhale the hands to heart. So now we'll work another standing pose, triangle. Get a block if you have them and place them, I know, one on each end of your mat. We're going to come to Prasarada again. Look at those feet. So it's like mountain pose, just stepped out wide. Squeeze the thigh muscles to lift the kneecaps. Reach to the little toe edge of the feet. Now pull the feet away from each other. Pull them away. Feel that. Draw them towards each other. Can you do that without forcing yourself to bring stress into that inner knee? So if you feel that, keep the drawing towards each other, but roll to the pinky toe edge. Feel the difference. Lift the thigh muscles to lift the kneecap. Now externally rotate the right leg. We're going to come into Warrior Two one more time before we go into triangle. So arms out. Pull the legs away from each other. Bend into the knee. Now take your hands down to your right thigh. We're going to externally rotate that. Keep that external rotation. If you took your right hand to the outside of your knee, push into the knee. Push the knee into the hand. Keep that engagement. Pull the legs towards each other. Reach to the pinky toe edge back here. Now straighten that leg. Lift your arms out, just like Warrior Two. Now we're going to lean to the right. And then drop the hand either on the shin, or maybe you bring a block. Try the outside of your ankle today. Now place your hand on the block or on the shin, and then work to open up through the chest. So my left ribs are wrapping up towards the ceiling. Pull the legs towards each other. Reach up with the left arm. Breathe. Feel the power in this. Pull those legs towards each other. Pay attention to the knees. Keep the kneecaps lifted. Keep reaching to the pinky toe edge of that back foot. Now pull the feet away from each other. Imagine I'm pulling you up by the left fingertips. We're going to come right back to Warrior Two. And without touching that right thigh, see if you can externally rotate it and like you're pushing your knee into your hand. Let's take Peaceful Warrior. And back to Warrior Two. Straighten the legs. Pivot back to Prasarada. Pull the feet away from each other. Pull the feet towards each other. Lift the kneecaps. Reach to the pinky edges of your feet. Swing your arms up. Fold forward. Keep the legs engaged. Now maybe we take this a little deeper into our forward fold. You can walk your hands in line with the feet. You can even turn the hands so your fingers point behind you. Let the head be heavy. Try to push those hips back towards the wall behind you and feel that's a little bit of an internal rotation. So we were externally rotating in Warrior Two. So internally rotate a bit in this forward fold. Now soften the knees a touch. Pull the feet strongly away from each other, hands to thighs. Inhale up. Let's bring the arms overhead. And exhale the hands home to the heart. Let's take the second side. So I'm going to move this block out of the way. Externally rotate the left leg and feel what happens there. I'm going to externally rotate, and this back leg internally rotates just a bit. So the hips aren't square to the long edge of the mat. If you try to do that and gently try to do that, you're going to feel that in your knee. So you're going to have to let the hips kind of wrap a bit. Arms up. Come to Warrior Two. Now look down at the left thigh. Take the hands and externally rotate the thigh. Left hand into the outside of that knee. Push the knee into the hand and the hand into the knee. Feel the engagement. Now come up to warrior two. Reach to the pinky toe edge back there. Lift the kneecaps. Triangle, straighten that front leg. Keep that external rotation of the thigh. Keep the kneecap lifted, really easy to hyperextend here. Now reach, reach. So stay long in this side body. And let the hand come wherever it lands. I like the block, but you can use your shin or come to the floor. And once I get here, pull the feet away from each other. Pull the feet towards each other, feel the difference. I'm going to reach up with the right arm, wrapping those right ribs up towards the sky. Working to stack my shoulders, triangle, Trikonasana. Now look down at the toes for stability. Pull the feet away from each other. Feel that just lift you right up out of the hips. Now imagine I'm lifting you by the fingers on the right hand. Come back up. Let's take warrior two one more time. Externally rotate that thigh. Reach to the pinky toe edge and lift the kneecaps. Soften through the center of the torso. Soften and lengthen. Hands to hips. Pivot. Let's heel toe the feet back. Now we'll take another vinyasa. Inhale up. And exhale, fold. Lift halfway. Step back into plank. Come to the belly. Maybe we'll do 5 high cobra this time. Inhale, rise up. And exhale down. 4 more. Two more for me. Right now we're in the back bend moment. So we're forgetting about the thighs. We're just stretching through the belly and come into plank and down dog. Step it forward. Arrive on an inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, fold. I've got an ouchie upper back. I don't know what I did to it. I think I have a muscle spasm in my rhomboids. Been working on that all weekend. Exhale, the hands home to the heart. So I have one more standing pose to review today, and it is side angle. Utthita Parshva Konasana, I believe. Kona means angle. Asana means pose. Utthita means extended, I believe. So step the feet wide. Prasarada. Pull the feet away from each other. Feel that. Lift the kneecaps. Soften through the torso. Reach through the crown of the head. So can you feel the difference? Legs are engaged. Torso is soft, but elongated, reaching. Almost a breathy feeling in the torso and a power in the legs. Let's inhale the arms up, coming into warrior two on the right. So all of those cues, I'm just going to let you go through it. Feel the power in your Virabhadrasana 2 and play here for a few breaths. Just experiment, see if you can remember the things that I've talked about. Now with side angle, I keep the knee bent. So it's kind of like triangle, but it's side angle. I'm going to reach. Again, reach. And let's bring the forearm to the thigh. Swing the left arm up by the ear and then work again to stack the shoulders. Wrap those left ribs up towards the sky. Breathe. What are the legs doing? Play around. Are you feeling discomfort anywhere? What can you do about that? Feel all the power, all that strengthening and stillness. Now let's come back up to Warrior Two. Straighten that leg and we'll go into triangle. Reach and fold. Get your block. And let's use the block for triangle. So powerful legs, but try to keep rib cage that soft reaching through the torso, even though we've tipped over. So it's not just a collapse, you're lengthening. Now bend into that knee again and see if you can come into side angle with your hand on the block. Now straighten that front leg. Rise up. Hands to hips. Pivot to Prasarada. Move that block out of the way. Feel the legs again. Lift the kneecaps. And when you engage the quads to lift the kneecaps, you bring a little flexion into the knee joint, so you're protecting that joint. It's easy for me to hyperextend the knees. Let's inhale up. Hyperextension isn't good. It stretches ligaments and tendons, and they're not meant to be stretched. They don't rebound, especially the ligaments. They don't rebound like muscles do, and then you just end up with this loosey-goosey joint. Now lift halfway. Bring those fingertips out in front of you and fold. Pull the feet away from each other. Soften the knees a bit. You can take the hands to the thighs or swing the arms out and up. Let's take the second side. Externally rotate. Feel all those things in the thighs. Bend into Warrior Two. Hold your Warrior Two and explore. Let that mind-body connection start to investigate what's going on. What do I feel? What can I do if it's a discomfort? And play with firing muscles in different directions. Now we'll come into side angle. So reach, stay long, reach. Forearm to thigh, light touch. Swing that right arm up, and then up by your ear, wrap the right ribs up towards the ceiling. And breathe. Now straighten that front leg, get your block. If you don't have the block, you can just bring your hand to your shin or to the floor. Work to open. Triangle. Now look down at your toes. Let's bend into that knee again. The knee should arrive right over the ankle, and the bend should be traveling right towards the center of the foot. So the second and the third toe rise up. Feel the legs again. Scoop the sit bones under you. Soften your ribs. Engage the legs. Straighten through that leg. Left leg. And pivot. Let's take one more forward fold here. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. And maybe we hang. Maybe you take your blocks and stack them and let the head come down. A little restorative forward fold. And if you're hanging here with the head supported, it's a good time to experiment with a little movement in the legs. Protect the knees and then pull the legs apart, push the legs towards each other. A little internal rotation to push the hips back. And maybe a little external rotation to come forward. And in fact, while we're folding forward, see if you can rock a little forward and back on the feet. A little agility practice. Now bring your hands to the mat and let's work our way to table. Cross the ankles behind you and come to a seated position. So we'll do a little, just some practice, maybe some twisting and a couple of bridges on our back. But that was a very focused practice. That was kind of a workshop about thighs and hips for standing poses. But again, we can get into the habit of just floating through these poses. And there's nothing wrong with flow, but there's so much more depth to be had in the poses that will build strength. We need the strength in addition to flexibility. We need both of those. So there can be power in our practice with some mindfulness, and slowing down to bring mindfulness to those movements will build muscle memory. So when we just take off and flow through a vinyasa practice, the body and the mind don't have to be so aware of each other. It just happens. Let's come to our backs. And how about we walk the feet out left and right edges of the mat. We're going to windshield wiper here. So drop the knees to the left and then to the right. Let's do 2 more each direction. Last time around. Now lift the knees, keeping them hip distance apart, and see if you can remember all 4 of the isometric contractions that we did to begin with. See if you can find your way to maybe 4 or 5 breaths in each one. And feel the difference. Drop the feet to the mat. We'll take a few easy bridges. So inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, come down. 3 more. Inhale, lift. And exhale, down. 2 more. This is flexion and extension of the thighs. See if you can feel those muscles. As you push the feet into the earth, you're extending, using some hamstrings. And then as you come down, it's kind of passive, but there's engagement there. You're flexing, you're drawing the thighs towards the chest. We'll do 1 more. Extension by lifting. Feel the glutes engage. And then release and go down into flexion. And do any last minute movements here as you settle in for a few moments of relaxation, Shavasana. And as you come to stillness, adjust a bit if you need to, just little tweaks to make you more comfortable. As you're settling into rest, perhaps focus with me on those muscle groups that we have been so aware of through this standing practice. Bring your awareness just to the fronts of both thighs, the tops, the fronts of the thighs. Feel there. And remember, there's a big muscle, the iliopsoas muscle, that's a hip flexor as well. And it dives into the pelvic bowl and attaches to several vertebrae in the low back. Maybe you can sink some awareness down into the belly, down into the pelvis. Now switch your awareness to the backs of the thighs, the hamstrings, the glutes. What do you notice back there? Now switch awareness to the outer thigh muscles, outer hip muscles. abductors, abductors. So you're abducting, you're pulling the leg away from the midline. What do you notice there? Now bring your awareness to the inner thighs. The adductors, adductors, you add the leg back to the midline. Engaging those muscles. What do you notice when the mind just explores? Just those places. Now notice everything at once. Send some gratitude to the legs, the hips, for all they do to support us on our journey every day. Let your awareness come back to the breath. And invite the breath to deepen. Exhale to wash away any last bit of stagnation. Let the inhale fill those spaces with energy for your day. Start to wiggle fingers and toes, and ankles and wrists, and you know the routine, a nice good morning stretch. And then draw the knees to the chest, Apanasana. Maybe curl up if that feels good. Roll to your right side. I'm on top of all kinds of stuff here, all my props. And as you're ready, reach long with the top leg. I've got too much stuff around me. And push yourself back up to a seated position, back where we started from. So a more focused practice today. Every now and then I like to stop and bring some awareness. Again, there's so much power in a yoga practice. And you can compound that strength and that power with mindfulness, with awareness. And it's kind of fun. It keeps your mind here. It keeps you aware of all the things going on in your body. Let's inhale, reach up one more time. And exhale, draw the hands to heart. May you have peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful, powerful world. Namaste.